Hello everybody, I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this April 6, 2024. It's being brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated, also brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. Well, as we go into the beginning of this forecast period, there's a pretty significant storm coming together over the northern plains and northern Rockies. Livestock interests across parts of Montana, Wyoming, parts of South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, experiencing rain, snow, wind, and cold. Pretty intense spring storm will roll across the plains, bringing winter weather in many areas. Strong thunderstorms and rain out across portions of the Midwest as the storm moves out of the Rockies later this weekend and early next week. So a bit of a big impactful storm. It's going to bring some needed precipitation, especially to northeastern Wyoming and parts of Montana and South Dakota and Nebraska. But a lot of it will come in the form of a heavy, wet snow, and that'll be something to get through for a lot of folks. But a break in the weather pattern. After this storm moves out, the western United States actually going to have a little bit of a break for most of next week and towards next weekend. We don't have any major storms queued up. Now, over the past week, temperatures have been, at least in the northern and western areas, close to average, if not a little bit below. You can see the warmth here across the southern plains and parts of the southeastern United States. The coolness that you see up here kind of matches up with what happened with the moisture. Quite a bit of rain and wet snow in these areas right here with last week's storm, bringing needed precipitation to those northern areas. And you know what? A lot of these areas up here are going to be experiencing the next storm as well. We continue to see more precipitation in the far west, helping out the snowpacks, especially the central and southern snowpacks. Bit dry, though, out here in the plains as the storms have been tracking to the north of those areas. This is where the snow's been for April. This is pretty impressive. Look how far south the snow has gotten over the last week. And many of these areas along and north of this black line I'm drawing right here will be picking up more with this weekend storm and the storm heading into early next week. This is why, as of early Saturday, at the beginning of this upcoming weekend, you see this low here over northeast Colorado. This is going to wind up and intensify and become a strong storm, and it's going to really impact these areas right here with heavy spring snows, severe thunderstorms and areas of rain out ahead of it in this area right here, and bringing in some colder Canadian air. So this will bring a winter storm this weekend into Monday into those areas. And you can see how much colder it is. Temperatures much, much colder in this area right here as the storm moves on through, especially for Montana, Wyoming, parts of South Dakota, North Dakota, and Nebraska there, where the most intense part of the storm is going to line up. However, here's the break in the weather we're talking about. As we get to the middle to the end of next week, high pressure builds across the west and a more mild westerly flow off the Pacific. So for those of you suffering through this northern Rockies and northern Plains storm, there's going to be a break for you with a warmer trend and a drier trend for probably several days before the following week starts to bring up and queue up another Pacific storm for the west. Over the next week or so, you can see the heavy precipitation across this region right here. That's what the storm we're talking about. Moisture will continue to fall across the northern plains as well. A lot of what I just outlined is going to be in the form of snow. It may start as rain, but will turn over to snow. And you can see where that's going to be across the northern plains, then back across the Rockies of Montana, Wyoming, into the mountains of Colorado. Going to be a pretty significant winter storm in this area right here. So be ready for more winter weather, at least here through the weekend, but a break in the weather thereafter, which I think everybody's ready for. Have yourself a good week ahead. See you next week.